can start right now. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming on such a short notice for a press conference regarding the visit of our governor to the state of Israel. As all of you know, that the governor left on Sunday for 7 days trip to Israel at a time, actually we believe it was the wrong time. We would have loved to sit down with the governor and talk to her about our concerns, why this trip is not at the right time and for the right reasons. However, we were not given the opportunity to talk to our governor about such an important decision to make a trip at this time to the state of Israel while it's bombing Gaza and 2 days ago bombed Syria as well, and for many other reasons. So what we are going to say today, we are going to release a statement that is going to be read by our brother Amr Zahar, who is the president of the New Generation of Palestine. And this statement represents our views as Arab Americans on the visit that the governor is right now making to the state of Israel. We would have loved to have sat down with the governor before she left as a community and expressed our concerns, but we were not granted, unfortunately, this opportunity, and that's why we're holding this press conference and expressing our concerns. Please welcome our brother Amr Zahar.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So again, my name is Amr Zahar, A-M-E-R-Z-A-H-R. I'm an activist, I'm an artist, and I am also the president of a local Palestinian membership organization called New Generation for Palestine. We wrote a moderately, not too lengthy statement that I'm gonna read. Just gonna take a couple minutes expressing the views of many Arab American organizations, individuals, and activists here in the Detroit metro area and throughout Michigan. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is currently visiting Israel. We Arab Americans became aware of this trip, like most Michiganders, from media reports this past Sunday, November 17th, the same day she departed. Michigan is home to the largest concentration of Arab Americans in the United States, boasting several 100,000 residents of Arab descent. We are a hardworking, successful, and politically active community. One of the core concerns and issues for the community is the matter of Palestinian human rights and self-determination. The timing of the governor's trip could not have been worse. Just this month, the Israeli occupying forces killed at least 34 Palestinians in Gaza. Among the victims was a family of 8, 3 adults and 5 children who were murdered while they slept in their home. The 5 children range in age from 13 years to 3 months. In addition to the bombardment, Israel continues to put a stranglehold on Gaza by imposing a strict blockade which limits access of food, medicine, water, and other essentials needed to survive. By taking this trip at this time, the governor is legitimizing these actions, and we must question how and why she has done this, and how does this serve our state. This past summer, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, a Palestinian American, was denied entry into the West Bank by Israel. A member of Michigan's congressional delegation was refused the right to visit her ancestral homeland because of her political views. Once again, we ask, how can the governor of Michigan legitimize these actions? How does this serve our state? The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, labeled Palestinians an existential threat to Israel last week. He has been rightly described by many presidential candidates as an outright racist. It does not serve the interests of the state of Michigan to lend support and credibility to Israel's Netanyahu at a time where he is personally under investigation for corruption and when his government's actions fly in the face of many international laws. How can the governor of Michigan legitimize this racism and bigotry? How does it serve our state? Also of great concern to the community is the inclusion in this trip of Joseph Gasper, the director of the Michigan State Police. Numerous global human rights organizations have chronicled Israel's practices of racial profiling, excessive force, and collective punishment. Is it the intention of the Michigan State Police to import these values and practices of hate, bigotry, profiling, violence, and oppression to the state? How does this serve our state of Michigan? What is most disturbing about this trip ultimately is the governor's decision to completely ignore the Arab American community. Our perspective, concerns, and points of view were never taken into account. Not a single member was reached out to for their opinion about this trip. For generations, the Arab American community here has been active, productive, and visible. We are a diverse community made up of Muslims and Christians, and our diversity has made this a better state. Michigan is home also to tens of thousands of Arab American refugees and immigrants who have been adversely affected by the actions of the Israeli government. But despite all this, our perspectives and experiences were completely ignored. Unfortunately for the community and the state, this is not the first time the governor has ignored our concerns. Last year, during her gubernatorial campaign, Governor Whitmer expressed her deep support for both the state of Israel and Michigan's 2016 anti-BDS legislation. That legislation prohibits our state from contracting with individuals or companies that support boycotts of Israel. This law flies in the face of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, and the Supreme Court has said as much. The governor of the state of Michigan put the interest of a foreign nation over the constitutional protections of her constituents. Shortly after she exhibited this prioritization of Israel over her constituents' rights, Governor Whitmer met with many Arab Americans. During this meeting, she assured attendees that when issues surrounding Palestine surface again, the community would be included in the discussion. Sadly, this was not the case. The events of this week lead us to the conclusion that Governor Whitmer refuses to acknowledge our existence as an essential part of this discussion and as constituents who deserve equal treatment. The community is left to feel disrespected, discounted, and disregarded. Most importantly, Governor Whitmer should not use our home state to lend support or provide any credibility to an apartheid state like Israel. Our opinions matter. Our community matters. Our state and its interests matter. We are proud Michiganders, and we shall not sit silent in the face of such actions by Governor Whitmer or anyone else.
Thank you, Ahmed. If you have any questions, we can take some questions, otherwise that will be it. Any questions? This is a statement that has been, yes.
Yeah, I just heard that the governor from Israel, she said that Israel is a center of trade in the world, not only in the Middle East.
Well, yes, I think that, one thing that needs to be said in here, and we need to be clear about it, that the governor can make the decision to visit any country that she see that fits to do business with. The problem here is not really visiting Israel, because other governors have visited Israel before. The problem is that she ignored our concerns and she went to Israel at the wrong time to discuss the wrong issues with the wrong people, and that is the problem. The problem is, as we discussed in this statement, in this detailed statement that's available for you guys to take and to publish and to distribute, we are releasing this statement as a matter of fact, right now. We have not released it before. Maybe it has leaked, as usually people leak information. But here we trying to express our views on this particular issue, on this particular visit, that we do not believe that the governor visit is appropriate at this time for the reason that was stated in her press release on Sunday. In fact, we were all surprised that she had already departed to Israel. We thought that we were friends with the governor, and we are Michiganders. We are people who live in the state of Michigan. We have our own concerns, and the governor should have really consulted with us before she had the opportunity to leave to Israel. Nasser, would you like to make a statement? You just came in, please.
quickly before Nasser speaks, this is Nasser Beydoun, the chair of the Arab American Civil Rights League. But as Osama said, this, the whole state learned about this on Sunday and she left that evening. Obviously there was some sort of desire or decision to not inform the public at large because maybe they knew that somebody might have something to say about it. She's the governor, she can go wherever she wants. We would have told her exactly what we wrote
In private.
in this statement. Yes, we would have told her in private and said, hey, this is how we feel. But we're upset mostly, sure, we don't want her to go, but we're upset mostly that we weren't even consulted as a this is Michigan. Michigan is the Arab American capital for every Arab in America. Everybody knows that, okay? It's not a mystery. And so our community is visible, she knows that we're here, and we really took this as a major affront to us.
Nasser, would you like to say something?
Yes, we did, but
It's
build
all
on
in
that,
the
please build on
statement.
that.
We read the statement.
Yeah.
already.
Thank you. As Osama and Amr said, we feel that her actions are an affront to the Arab American community. And what's particularly disturbing for a civil rights organization that she would take the head of the Michigan State Police to Israel with her. And we know from various human rights groups, and we've seen what the Israeli policing is all about. It's about racial profiling, it's about shooting innocent, unarmed civilians, it's a lack of due process. So I don't think there's anything that the Michigan State Police can learn from the Israeli police or the IDF that we would want them to come back and implement here in Michigan. And as we said, the secretiveness of the trip without notifying anybody, Governor Snyder went to Israel, Governor Granholm went to Israel, but they let the people know weeks, months in advance. It wasn't a hush-hush mission. It wasn't a mission that, we're trying to fly underneath the radar. And as they said, had we known, it's not about her going, but we want her to see the other side of the story. Let her go see what's happening with the Palestinians, what's happening in the West Bank, what's happening in Gaza. And she chooses a time that's 1 week after Israel stopped bombing Gaza, which we find very offensive as a community.
Well, there is another thing that is important to allude to, and even to put on the table before the governor and the community at large, that the state has a commission, Middle Eastern Commission. It's called Middle Eastern Commission. And the commission has a representation of many people from the Middle East, including the big chunk of it is Arab Americans. I have talked to a few people on the commission and they were not even aware of this visit. Now the previous governor and this governor have appointed people to the commission. So I don't understand what is the purpose of having a commission if this commission is not being consulted on issues that deals with the Middle East. So we asked the governor, let's just take this opportunity to learn from our mistakes, because we believe that this is a major mistake that's committed by the governor. We would like her to listen to our concerns next time, and we are ready to sit down and talk at any time with the governor. We agree with the governor on other issues. We thank her for appointments for Arab Americans, and we believe that we have been very supportive of her administration and of her candidacy before, and we believe that we are demanding here respect and our views and our concerns to be considered when a decision to fly to Israel is taken again. So having said that, I wanted to, yes, go ahead.
We know we have a few major Arab American staff with the governor. The question is, were they consulted about this trip, or did they report to us? Have we heard from them regarding this trip?
Well, if they are, the question is, there are Arab Americans on the cabinet and Arab Americans on the staff for the governor. Have we heard from them? I think that I'm going to refer this question to them. They are not here to answer it, and I'm not going to answer it. I have the information, and I'm not going to answer this.
But
Because they are employees of the governor, and I'm sure that they are not able to answer this question themselves. However, let me tell you, I believe
Right. We
if
didn't
they were,
know.
if they were informed, we were not informed. And if they are not informed, they could not have informed us in the first place. So in either way, we were not informed. Thank you very much.
And one last thing is, we're not hard, if you're gonna quote anything from us outside of the statement, we are not hard to find. It's not hard to find the Arab Americans in Michigan. She could have found us, she could have spoken to us. And to double down on the idea of taking the Michigan State Police, all of us up here from the different organizations that we've been with, we've spoken loud about the injustices that go on in the black community when it comes to people being killed unarmed by police. It's something that we think is a major civil rights issue for that community and our community as well. And so we just don't understand. Last week, a Palestinian journalist was shot in the eye. A journalist, unarmed, shot in the eye by the Israeli government. Is this who we're trying to learn any lessons from? These are the questions we would have asked her, but she never bothered to ask us.
Well, thank you.
The other thing is she's going to, she's visiting a government that's supporting President Trump, that's been enabled by President Trump. So what kind of, what do they have in common that you would want to go at the visit right now at this time? And the other thing, as Amr said, we're easy to find when they want campaign contributions,
Right.
but we're very hard to find when there's issues that pertain to our community.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to end this press conference at this time. We appreciate your presence again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.